How's it going? I won't know how this video turns out until later, I guess, because these iPad things turn themselves into dark mode at some point. So everything looks really red and everything on here while I'm looking at myself. But yeah, there's a random update of just stuff and things. And I realized that YouTube uses uh, backgrounds. It always picks a picture of a thumbnail for me when there's something moving around on it. That's why I had a pen in my last one and had a glass of water in one of the other ones, because if I'm just sitting here staring at the screen the whole time, if I do something like touch my glasses, it's like, it becomes my thumbnail. If you look back, you can see a bunch of thumbnails with that. So it uses machine learning to pick the thing that's most interesting. I guess the most interesting thing about me is if I have something in my hand. So I have a different pen today. So uh, yeah. Oh, actually, this pen my mom sent me. It has little sayings on it, like "Be happy." Ooh, I wonder if it shows backwards when I'm looking at it now. And let it go. But if I press the button, it says something different. You got this, and dream big. I'm trying to read it backwards. So believe in yourself and live, laugh, love. Oh, and be happy and let it go. Oh, I got this. Excellent. So I've got this. So yeah, just in general, I'm a big fan of bubble teas. I don't know if anybody else out there is, but and there was supposed to be some boba shortage, not Boba Fett. There's tons of Boba Fett from Star Wars reference. Boba are the like the black pearls inside the Taiwanese milk teas, or I like getting a Thai tea. That's one of my favorites, like the red Thai tea. It's kind of reddish. It stains red, I'll tell you that. Don't drip it on your clothes. Don't be a slob. Uh, but yeah, I get a nice dark tea or a black tea with milk in it, or cream, or salted cheese foam, or whatever kind of creamy stuff. There's lots of different toppings on it, and a little boba at the bottom of it. And there was some shortage that they announced like 2 weeks ago, and so I went to the one mall near me here has 7 or 8 boba places. Uh, I mean, that's amazing for one mall. And the other mall just added, there's like 10 malls around here. One of the other malls has, they had only one, but they added 3 of them recently. So I went to them, and being an outgoing kind of guy that I am sometimes, I asked them, it's like, hey, is that affecting you? And I guess I need to learn Chinese or something. Most of them are, well, I just have trouble communicating with them. I try to speak English and speak slowly and try to do a good job, but not everybody. Yeah, I'm bad at that. So, but it'd be better to be able to learn somebody else's language. I've tried learning other languages and I'm bad at it. So, but in general, though, I tried to be, and I ended up talking to a bit of them. I guess some were Japanese too, at the one place. But yeah, so I asked about the lack of boba, and they said, "Oh, no, they have plenty at the time, at least." Maybe yeah. So, but we'll see. We'll see if it continues on. So, the side note about this is, if you like bubble tea as much as I do, I mean, I've loved it for like 30, 20 years, 20 years since I went on a date with this Japanese woman. She took me to this place, and they had this tea, and it was some special thing, and I had it served hot with little pearls in the bottom. It was so good, and so for over 20 years, I've been having those things. But at Costco, they have these things called milk tea Boba Bars, I think it is. But they're it's something like that. You'll see them in the freezer section, and it's like the bottom of it. I've had one of them so far out of the box of 8 or 12, and at the bottom of it's like the way it froze. At the bottom of it is kind of like just sugar, like brown sugar, basically. It's all brown, and then the milk part's up in the rest of it towards the stick, and there's streaks of brown sugar. But then they froze boba into it as well. So I was curious if people can choke to death, because there was some sort of treat a while ago that you're supposed to freeze these sticky balls, and people were actually choking on them. They get stuck in your throat, and they become too tacky when they freeze. And so I was curious if that's going to happen to me. So if I choke to death, I'll let you know. Wait, no, I guess I won't let you know. No, I'm just very careful about those things. Being I'm alone. Um, but aside from that, they're very tasty. It's if you like that brown sugar kind of taste, brown sugar. I guess that's what they call it. Yeah, brown sugar. Sure. I think it says brown sugar on the side. It's definitely brown, and so it's almost like a caramelized taste, and it's really good. And it has some pearls in throughout the whole bar. So like in the cream part and the sugary part, they're there. So someone I read about it online on Reddit. There's a Costco forum, and so I thought, oh, that sounds good. But if you see him there, give it a chance if you like boba. They also mentioned that I like Chick-fil-A, and there's supposedly some chicken nuggets that taste like Chick-fil-A, but I bought a couple of those chicken nuggets, and I didn't find any that made me go, oh my, I'm giving up Chick-fil-A now. I'm still a fan, although I live in California, so the science is different here, so things are still locked down. Uh, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if Chick-fil-A has indoor dining yet. They might by now, but they didn't for the longest time, and they had huge lines. And I remember it took me over an hour the last time I went there to get through the line. But they took my order as soon as I got in line in the car. My car was in line. And by the time I got to the front, my food had been sitting there for an hour. So my drink had all the ice melted, all the food was cold, and I haven't been back since. And that was like 6 or 8 months ago. It was kind of annoying because, I mean, I've been a fan of Chick-fil-A since I lived in Philadelphia 30 some years ago. So it's hard to believe considering I'm only 30 now, but yeah. So 30 years ago, I lived in Philadelphia and worked at a place called Cricket Software in Malvern, Pennsylvania. And at the mall there, in the food court, in the plaza, I believe it was. Or no, yeah, the plaza. The court was the other one at the time. Now they're joined in one big super mall, one of the biggest malls. But in the plaza, they had this really weird food court with multi-steps. And if you got to the top, it's like there was seating down here, then there's a level up of seating, then the restaurants are up here. And it's like those old 70s sunken couches with the multiple levels. And if you got to the top, the ceiling was kind of low. I'm really tall, so it always felt kind of weird. But up there was a Chick-fil-A in the back corner. I don't know if anybody's from Philly had ever seen that. Well, some of my friends are, but I don't know if they remember Chick-fil-A back there. But man, I used to go to the mall every day. And there was two malls. I go to the Exton Square on alternating days. And I think they had Chick-fil-A there too, actually. so I'd have Chick-fil-A like a couple times a week back in the 80s. Wow, time flies. And yeah, then I moved out to California, and they had a Chick-fil-A here for a little bit at the one mall in Sunnyvale Town Center, which is now gone now. But the Chick-fil-A didn't last very long. When I moved out here, it was maybe here for like 2 years or something. And I only tended to go to the mall on Saturday and Sunday, and they were closed Sunday, so I missed them a lot. And then they just closed. They were gone for like 10 years or more. And I tell people, oh, Chick-fil-A, oh, you should try it. Oh, it's amazing. And people out here, a lot of them hadn't heard of it before. It wasn't that big. And now they're out here, they're everywhere. It's like, I mean, there's always a line. There's miles long line sometimes. I don't know how it went from some place that could barely hold a dining, it was a big mall in the middle of Sunnyvale. I mean, it's a big city-ish, kind of, for out here, to being like a nationwide chain that's the number one. But however it did, I used to love those little chicken nuggets. I still do, I guess. And the pickle, I don't know why they only have a pickle on a sandwich. It's kind of weird, because I'd like it with pickle and mayonnaise. That'd be my favorite. But I guess they have mayonnaise packets, but I put the mayonnaise on the french fries. I had a roommate when I lived in Philadelphia for part of the time, and he went off to Amsterdam, something like that. And he told me that they put mayonnaise on french fries. And I said, that was the most disgusting thing I ever heard. And he told me, try it. So I don't like ketchup very much, too sweet. So I gave it a try, and he was right. It's amazing. So I used to always put butter on my fries. That's still my favorite. Melt some butter or get a little pat of butter from when I get my fries. And it also means that they have to be hot. See, I'm going to try changing my angle here. If the fries are hot enough, that's how you know when they're hot. They can melt the pats of butter. And oh, that's my favorite. Butter with some salt. But yeah. But mayonnaise, oh yeah. So I get the mayonnaise from Chick-fil-A, put that on the fries, and then for some reason I don't think I put it on the sandwich. It's kind of weird when I think about it, because I like mayonnaise on sandwiches and stuff. But anyway, at Costco, they had a bunch of other stuff. I don't remember that they had ribs before, but back in the rotisserie section, they had people, as soon as they put the ribs out, people were grabbing them. And so, like, usually where they just have chickens. So I happened to be walking back again past it and saw that they put them out, and I grabbed them. It was like almost 4 pounds of ribs for $22. So that was a good deal, I thought. And yeah, it was. I ate a bunch of them, but then I still had like two baggies worth for other meals. So yeah, that was kind of good. What other things? I guess, yeah, I went to Costco. I heard that the rest of the country, you can just walk into a Costco with no mask and people aren't dying in the streets from it. But here in California, where we we don't believe in the science. We believe in something different. So we'll see when eventually we catch up to what the rest of the world, or the rest of the United States has. But in the meantime, I still had to do what I had to do to get those ribs and those bars. And I thought I saw something else really interesting there, but it eludes me at the moment. Uh, but I don't know about you guys, but I always like the milk section there because it's back in a separate room and it's really cold in there, and so you can go back and you can see your breath, at least before the mask things, and I'd always like to take a couple deep breaths and blow it out, and because I really like cold, I can't stand heat, and I'd be back there. I'd always go back and leave my cart out there and walk in and take a couple deep breaths, and then before I leave, I take a deep breath and try to exhale on the way out, so it looks like I'm blowing smoke as I'm leaving. So, at least that's what it looks to me. So I don't know if anyone else ever sees it, but I just do things like that to amuse myself, I guess. uh, I didn't see them this time, but each Costco here has something different. They have the frozen king crab legs. I love king crab. I lived in Seattle for a year, and it's like every restaurant there, you could get a side of king crab. I mean, I'd go get a steak with a side of king crab, or I'd go to the crab house and get a side of king crab, or go to the farmer's market and get a side of king crab. I mean, I had king crab all the time, and they had it there, like actual real big king crab legs, just like I remember, and they had some defrosted. So I bought a bunch last time I was there, a few weeks ago, and it was amazing. It's like I haven't had that in so long. I usually end up they have like meats and stuff like that. So, but as you can tell, I like food. I'm thinking about it now, and it's almost midnight. Oh, it's after midnight now. So I missed uploading it in time for the 20th. But yeah, same like when I go to Vegas. I mean, I don't drink alcohol, but I love going to Vegas because of the food. I mean, if I ever want to know about things about Vegas, I used to work there 20 some years ago on slot machines. I also know about all the gambling and how to get free rooms and all that stuff too. So people keep telling me I should create a blog or sell a service about that. I see people who offer that, but but yeah, I have like free rooms for life at a lot of the casinos just because I know how the systems work. But I know all the restaurants though. I mean, like all the steakhouses and chicken places, and although I don't know how many are open now. I mean, they just reopened this last weekend after being closed for so long. I guess a lot of them were open, but a lot of the places went away, and so I want to go back as soon as I can and see how many of my favorite places are there. I mean, there's so many good restaurants in Vegas. Yeah. But anyway, sorry, just thinking of all the. Yeah, there's one steakhouse I really like where they actually make the soup at your table. So if you order like the seafood chowder, they bring out like seafood, they bring out the cream based chowder and they pour it into the bowl and put the thing and mix it and put the croutons. It's just interesting to see it made at my table. And but the steaks were amazing. I think it was Delmonico Steakhouse in the Venetian. So, but I haven't been to the downtown in wow, like probably a decade. I don't know if anybody's ever been downtown with the light show. I don't know if they still have the light show. But last time I was in Vegas was wow. No, it was February a year ago, and then before that I was there with a friend. Frank met up with me there, and we went to see the what's it? Neon Light Graveyard. That was really cool. There was actually I have lots of pictures of it. Just really old signs from Vegas throughout all of throughout its history, just throughout all the different buildings and everything. And in nighttime, when they're all lit up, it's really cool. I was really glad he recommended it. I mean, I never would have done it myself. I know the casinos and I know all that stuff, but things outside of that, I know the malls in Vegas because I like malls. uh, but yeah, so I'm always appreciative that he told me about that, and then we went there. That was a great experience. And they had some display by oh, who's that director who does weird stuff? They had a special display that he created a giant wall of stuff. He did the Pumpkin King and all those. I'm drawing a blank on his name now. Danny Elfman always does his music. Nightmare Before Christmas. I can't think of it. Oh well. I'm sure I gave you enough hints that you can figure it out yourself. It's like a puzzle, a clue. But yeah, I have so many things to talk about for Vegas, and so many things about food, and so many things about food in my area where I live here. There's a lot of great places, and like I said a lot of bubble tea places and steakhouses, and started like oh, there's a Chinese place that just reopened again, Chef Co. It closed for like at the beginning of the pandemic lockdown stuff, and it opened for to go only a few months ago, like 2 months ago, and they finally opened this week for indoor dining. So I got to eat indoors today. It was really good. It's they have a salt and pepper pork chop. Wow, I love the salt and pepper stuff. The salt and pepper prawns were like one of my favorites, but salt and pepper pork chops now is like kind of my favorite. But I tried their prawn and curry. It had a lot of vegetables in. I'm not a big fan of vegetables. Well, bell peppers. I hate bell peppers. So it was all bell peppers, and so if you like bell peppers and curry, it was actually really good. But if you live in San Jose and the one Chinese food, I recommend Chef Co. If you like Costco, there's 6 of them I found within 15 minutes of my house. There's a lot of Costco's here in San Jose, and they all have slightly different stuff. So, but anyway, just me rambling about food. I guess I'm hungry, and there was something I was going to talk about for aliens because I seem to be talking about that a lot lately, but the story turned out to be bogus, I believe. Somebody uploaded something about the internet thing that I'd mentioned. And they said, oh, yes, tomorrow there's going to be some announcement about the alien, the link. And there'll be an announcement tomorrow. It's like, yeah, well, if you have an announcement, make it now. Don't tell me about it tomorrow. So, yeah, I saw it got downvoted to purgatory. So that's probably just a fake thing. But I still think something alien might happen soon. Well, oh, yeah, I got to wave my pen around. So anyway, you got this, man. And dream big. Because if you don't dream big, no one will dream big for you. And, well, I hope to see you at one of these restaurants, or if you're interested in any of the restaurants, let me know. I'll probably start going back to Vegas once a month like I used to again sometime soon. And, yeah, I miss traveling around. So hope everybody's doing well, and maybe I'll see everybody again sometime, and take care. Good night.